Well, here we are, a year later.
We're back.
There's only been a few things done.
Hey, Mom, look, the boys are back in town.
I'm just kidding. We're talking about the 4Runner today.
The two-door 4Runner.
They made them.
Only in America.
The second gens that were actually 2 doors.
Only in America. This is the 99 version. Don't mind the badge on the door. It don't mean nothing. I stole that door.
Sure. They're compatible. So,
All right.
Tanner, what do you want to tell the people at home?
Do we want to begin?
After a year of an update on this truck, here we are. So you'll notice a few things that you can see right off the rip is the brush guard in the front. You can't see the suspension work that he's done. Redid the U-joints and the drive shafts. I think we had the water tank up there last time.
Yeah, water tank was already on there.
The relocation of the jack and a backup camera and a different assortment of lighting.
Yeah. That jack mount was about a year and a half in the works of trying to figure out how I was going to do it.
Without it getting stolen all the time.
Yeah, without it getting stolen. So I had these jack mounts that I bought off Amazon that I was gonna mount them inside, but then I didn't want to drill another hole like in the top of the camper shell because it already has a few leaking issues towards the back. I mean, where it doesn't quite meet up with the cab.
But that's
besides the point. But yeah, so I had these mounts just sitting at the house, and I was like, well, you know what? No water's gonna get in here, so I just drilled a hole here, put the U-bolt in it, silicone the back of it. Haven't had no leak issues. Now the bottom was a little bit trickier because it is mounted to the bumper, and people might just be like, oh, well,
just straight to.
People might just be like, oh, you can just take this thing loose, and well, as you can tell, yeah, you could just take it loose, but that's where that little wing nut comes in. That wing nut's got a lock washer on the bottom of it, and I've got a wrench that I keep inside that you have to pry the ever-living bleep out of to get it to turn.
Custom bleeps.
And it's actually worked because no one stole my jack yet. And if they do, they can honestly have it because, well, it scratched this up, and we'll talk about this scratch and why the truck's so muddy in a few minutes. But yeah, so getting back into the rest of the truck. Whenever we did the last walk around, I hadn't really touched anything underneath it, and it was making some squeaks and some pops and some creaks. And one night I was up in Mountain Rest riding around, just cruising around. I put it in 4-wheel drive, and the most god-awful popping noise and jerking came from the front end. And it was at that point that I climbed under the vehicle and realized that my U-joint was completely gone, pretty much. I mean, it was there, but I could move the drive shaft up and down, and I will...
Obliterated, some might say.
Yes, it did. And, okay, so yeah. So I pulled the front drive shaft, and these have the internal snap ring, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. But yeah, so these have the internal snap ring. So got it all pressed out and realized that whenever the U-joint actually cracked in the middle. And when it cracked, it put a lot of stress on the actual housing of the drive shaft, which caused the rings where the U-joint presses in to crack as well. So I didn't do the safest thing. I just JB welded that drive shaft back, and thankfully Alec was kind enough to give me the front drive shaft out of Athena. So that was good. So I do have a backup.
Parts.
I do have a backup in case this one does explode on me. But I use Moog U-joints in the front drive shaft and in the rear drive shaft. The rear was fine, but I went ahead and replaced all that. But yeah, so I got it put back in. So far, it hasn't exploded yet, but I just drive with the hubs unlocked. So when I need to put it in 4-wheel drive, I get out, lock the hubs, and we're good to go. It hasn't made any noises and it hasn't broke. So yeah, brand new U-joints all the way through. Hopefully I don't ever have to touch them again.
Let's hope not.
Got any wood to knock on? There we go. In addition to under the vehicle, the steering was completely wrecked. Essentially, I did rack and pinion bushings about 2 years ago when I put the leveling kit on, but the inner tie rods were completely shot, and I think it was after Yahari,
yeah, it was
when I realized that the power steering rack was leaking power steering fluid,
crazy.
not power steering fluid, but it was leaking the hydraulic fluid that's inside the rack. So rather than, pull the whole thing apart and attempt to do a rebuild, I just decided to buy a new rack and pinion, and that's what I did. And it sat in my garage for about 6 months, and finally got it installed with the help of Alec. So it's got new rack and pinion, new steering. What's that thing called that turns the freaking
steering wheel?
Yeah, the steering wheel, the shaft that comes out of the steering wheel. I put a new joint on it, and then new outer tie rods on both sides. So steering is perfect. When I got done with the steering, I went ahead and slapped some wheel spacers on. So you can see the stance is just a little bit wider. I didn't go much. I only went with a 1-inch spacer because I was like, I don't want this much of my tire sticking out. And because already this thing sits low, and when turning, I didn't want it to be an issue with it hitting what is left of the fenders.
Clearance is clearance.
And the bumper. The bumper, you don't want to mess up your bumper.
Don't want to catch that.
So after that stuff was done, that sorted out all my suspension issues. Did we get the lift in the rear in the last video?
Yeah.
We did? Okay.
Yes, we did.
So the rear was already done. The front's good now. Everything's pretty much been replaced, except for the upper control arms, because I was very gracious and had to help a boy out. But so Alec
I got some brand new ones over there for you. They just need bushings.
Alec got some brand new upper control arms on the 4Runner, but I didn't need them at the time, so it worked out good in everybody's favor. So all I got left to do is upper control arms. I'm probably going to go with uniballs, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the lowers with uniballs as well, just to get it out of the way. I've got them on the Tundra. I love them. It's worth the money, in my opinion. So moving up to the front, I was trying to figure out a bumper situation, but with how many times the front end of this truck has been in ditches and or in trees, the whole put a bumper on it was kind of out of the question because of how much money it was going to cost and how much fabrication it was going to be. And I really couldn't find a bumper that I liked to fit on this, because I didn't want to go with the stock bumper, because if you've seen pictures of these things, they hang down this far and stick out this far. So I didn't want the Crimson Chin driving around out here. I mean, I think it fits. So I decided to go with a brush guard. Now, this brush guard was $179 on Amazon. And I know everybody's going to come at me for going the cheap route and doing this and doing that, but it does its job. I have owned countless of this brand, which is I think it's a Hunter, which we'll link it down below. But I have had one on my old F-250. I've had one on this truck. I had one on the Tundra for a brief period. Well, it wasn't a brush guard, it was a bull bar. And I've never had problems with it. Max it out. Okay, so the brush guard. Being a very cheap Amazon one, it might be stupid of me to have bought it instead of buy a real expensive like Rough Country one or a Fab Force brush guard. But it was the easiest thing to do at the time to protect the front end, because I had zero front end protection. With no bumper and no crash bar, if something hit the front of this thing, there was nothing to protect my radiator or even the bottom of the motor. So I got this, and in my F-250 I hit 3 deer with it, and it held up just fine. So I'm not worried about the cheap brush guard. It serves its purpose. The front light, which I absolutely love, it's not a Baja Designs or anything like that. It's actually another Amazon purchase, because as y'all know, this is budget built. It is a Super Bright, which is the name of it.
Amazon special through and through.
A Super Bright LED bar, single row with the dual function amber and spot. It's all wired up into the cab, and we'll go through the wiring setup in a minute, because it has changed since the 5-gang switch panel that I had custom built. It's still in there, but there's also an addition. Fog lights are still the same with turn signals wired into them. The headlights are the Anzo Dark Crystal, or they're crystal lenses, but they are the tinted or the black version, which I don't actually think Anzo sells these for this model anymore, but I know they still have the clear ones, so we'll link those because they are the same. They're just not, they don't have the dark background
accents around it.
I freaking love these things because they have a decent projection pattern, but I haven't had any issues with fading or anything like that. I put LED headlights in it just to get a little bit more light off-road and on-road, because the old headlights I couldn't see anything out of. But yeah, that pretty much does it for the front, I think. That's yeah, the big upgrades, I guess.
Touched up on everything up there.
Yeah. So I guess we can go inside.
Under the inside.
Oh, sorry, don't mind that. Okay, so inside, same setup with the same CB radio I've had since I got the truck. The same switch panel is under there. However, this switch panel right here now controls all the functions of the bed lights. So it has everything from the rock lights, or the camp lights, I guess you could say, and the interior bed lights. Now, Alec mentioned earlier that I do now have a backup camera that is attached to the camper shell, and that is literally wired straight into the tail lights, and it runs, or the reverse lights, and it runs straight up into here. The monitor's right here, so literally when I put the truck in reverse, it comes on. It's not going to come on because the truck's off, but that comes on. So it's very nice now to be able to see what's directly behind me, because any of y'all Toyota owners know the mirrors in these models are dog crap. Now for the big things.
There's a whole seat back there.
Now the big things. This switch panel right here is a Nylite 6-gang switch panel. Comes with the fuse box with relays already built in. It's one wire to the battery, a ground, and a power wire for the controller. Then you run the controller wire straight in to the into the cab, and you're golden.
Nice and simple.
You plug it in, all your lights come up, and on the switch panel, which I'll show you in just a second, under the hood, you just got these little terminals that you unscrew. You run your power wire in, screw it in, and you're good to go. You've got 6 ports that you can use. I did run into a little bit of an issue with this the past couple days, and I'm thinking it's because when I got this truck immortally stuck, and we'll show you what I mean by that with this video clip and these pictures. When I got it stuck, I was throwing water all over the truck. I mean, I couldn't see out of my windshield. It was a bad situation because I was stupid and didn't test the waters before I went into them. You know, drove the trail 100 times, but I'm still gonna not check it. But yeah, so it actually, I unplugged it, cut the battery off for, you know, full 24 hours. I worked on it all day yesterday, nothing. Cut the power off to the battery, came back today, hooked it back up right before I came over here, and it works, and all the functions are working. So
beautiful.
Yeah, we have all the lights back, which is good, and I'm very happy about that. Auto dimming, as you probably just saw, for whenever it gets dark, it's not going to shine this bright light in your eyes. Garmin GPS, because a lot of places that we go, your phone doesn't work, and it's nice to know that whenever you hit those forest roads or something, that if your phone don't work, you're going to know how to at least get back out to the main road. I don't have much programmed in. I have Alex's house and my house programmed in, and that's literally it, so I can just press it and go. But that thing never loses signal. I love it. It's been a very good piece of equipment to have, and I recommend everybody put one in if you're going to go wheeling, especially by yourself, like my dumbass does all the time. Sorry about that. But yeah, let's go under the hood and I'll show you the rest. And I'm going to hook up the rest of my lights while I'm here. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
It's a little muddy. Like I said, I got stuck. And, yeah, the engine bay's nowhere near as clean. Don't mind the extra turn there that just hangs out. Okay, so under the hood, same as it has been. You know, the power steering pump is still held on by 3 zip ties. Works out great. But yeah, so this is the controller for the switch panel inside, and as you can see, there's one wire that runs across the engine straight to the battery, and then there's 2 little wires that come out. Don't mind the rat's nest, I need to fix it. But yeah, one wire runs out and plugs into, it's this wire right here actually. That's the control wire for the power to the switches, and then here's the ground for the whole unit. And it's simple as that. We pop this cover off, we can see all 6 relays, 6 fuses, and then all your connectors. You just undo the screw, slide your wire in, screw it back down. Never had an issue with this system. I've got it in all 3 of my trucks. I got it in the Ford, the Tundra, and this one. And I've
only heard good things about it.
It's been a very reliable system, especially because this one was underwater not even 2 weeks ago. And it had some issues, but I think that was more on the battery side than anything, because the battery was underwater almost as well.
Blub, blub, blub.
So yeah, but I've had this one in here for what, a year and a half now?
Yeah,
something like that.
A little less.
Yeah, a little bit less, but still phenomenal system. Easy to install, easy to run wires to. I think the hardest part about this whole install was finding where to mount this box, especially on my F-150, because there's no room in the engine bay. yeah, super good system. The link for that will be down in the description as well. Inverter, and a lot of people going to be complaining about this too, where I've got it. This is just temporary, just for Christmas
holiday
time.
spirit.
Because who doesn't like, let's see if it'll actually fire. It might not have enough juice. Who doesn't like a little bit of Christmas? So yeah, it's simple as that. I wanted it here so I could get in the mood, in the spirit, I guess you could say. So yeah, that's there temporarily. Eventually it will go back into the bed where it belongs. So yeah, inverter's there temporarily. But yeah, I know it's not in a weatherproof spot, but it'll be okay. Yeah, engine bay still pretty much stock. The truck's actually running phenomenal. It's just crossed over 242,500 miles on the way over here. And I mean, stock motor, you know, we've done the normal stuff: radiator, plugs, wires, coil packs, new radiator hoses, power steering pump.
Oh, your basic maintenance.
Yeah, basic maintenance, and it's been a very good vehicle so far, and I'm hoping to get a few more 100,000 out of it, but we'll see. You never know what the future holds for this truck. Well, that being said, I want to hear from people in the comments if y'all like this truck the way it's set up, which is kind of a multi-purpose camping / kind of go wheeling and dealing type truck, or if y'all liked it when we did the first walk around, whenever I just had the bed rack on and it was just beat the mess out of it and have fun, and I didn't have to worry about driving it home. I could just throw it on a trailer if I wanted to. But yeah, let us know down in the comments what you think about that. I'm personally kind of torn, and I know Alec is too, because he wants 40s on this thing. And
40s at one time, woo!
So, you know, it all depends. But yeah, that is the updated Tacoma, and it's only up. Or at least that's what I hope. It's only up, and not like upside down. But we'll figure that out if we ever cross that bridge.
Very true.
Thank y'all for tuning into this updated walk around here on Shag Shop, and
we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
On Shag Shop.